We live in a world that upgrades every single day. New technologies appear, new skills become valuable, old knowledge becomes outdated faster than ever. And in this environment, the biggest advantage is not money, not connections, not even talent. It is the ability to learn faster than everyone else. Think about it. The person who can quickly understand new tools, new ideas, and new systems will always stay ahead. While others struggle to catch up, they are already adapting. While others complain that the world is changing too fast, they are using that speed as an advantage. Learning fast is not just a study skill, it is a competitive edge in life. In this video, we will break down what learning fast really means, the science behind it, the systems that make it possible, and how you can turn it into your ultimate superpower. Even if you are starting from zero, by the end of this video, you will clearly understand how to upgrade your learning speed and transform your growth trajectory permanently. The skill that decides your future. We are living in an era where information doubles faster than ever before. New technologies appear every year. New careers are born. Old skills become outdated. In this kind of world, the person who survives is not the one who knows the most right now. The person who survives is the one who can learn the fastest. Learning fast is not about being naturally smart. It is about adapting quickly when the environment changes. Imagine two people. One person spends 10 years mastering one skill but struggles to learn anything new. The other person can pick up new skills in weeks or months. In a world where industries shift constantly, AI, automation, digital tools, the second person will always stay relevant. The ability to quickly absorb, understand, and apply new information becomes a superpower. It is like having the ability to upgrade yourself whenever required. Many people think learning fast means memorizing facts quickly. That is a misunderstanding. Learning fast actually means understanding patterns, making connections, and applying knowledge in real situations. If you understand how something works at its core, you don't need to memorize everything. You can rebuild the idea from first principles. That is real intelligence, not storing information, but processing it effectively. So before we talk about techniques or hacks, understand this foundation. Learning fast is not just a study skill. It is a survival skill in the modern world. The person who masters learning becomes unstoppable because they are never stuck. No matter how the world changes, they can change with it. The science behind how we learn. To learn fast, we first need to understand how learning actually works inside the brain. Learning is not magic, it is biology. When you learn something new, your brain forms connections between neurons. These connections are called neural pathways. The more you use a pathway, the stronger it becomes. This is known as neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize and adapt based on experience. When you hear a new concept for the first time, your brain struggles because there is no strong pathway yet. That is why it feels confusing. But every time you review, practice, or explain that concept, the pathway strengthens. Eventually, what once felt difficult becomes automatic. This is why repetition with understanding is powerful. You are literally rewiring your brain. There is also something important called cognitive load. Your brain has limited working memory. If too much information comes at once, you feel overwhelmed. That is not because you are incapable, it is because your brain can only process a limited number of new elements at one time. Smart learners break complex topics into smaller chunks. They reduce overload and increase clarity. Understanding this changes everything. Learning fast is not about pushing your brain harder. It is about working with how the brain naturally functions. When you align your methods with biology, repetition, spacing, chunking, and application, you stop fighting your brain and start upgrading it. And once you understand this mechanism, speed becomes natural, not forced. Speed is not about talent, it's about systems. One of the biggest myths about fast learners is that they are gifted, that they were born smarter. But if you study high performers across different fields, science, sports, business, you'll notice something consistent. Their advantage is not raw IQ. Their advantage is systems. They have a structured way of learning that removes randomness. When someone without a system tries to learn, they rely on motivation. They study when they feel inspired. They quit when it feels hard. Their process is emotional, but fast learners remove emotion from the equation. They create a repeatable structure, preview the topic, break it into small units, practice actively, test themselves, and review strategically. Because the process is structured, progress becomes predictable. Think about it like building muscle. You don't grow by randomly lifting weights whenever you feel like it. You grow by following a structured workout plan, progressive overload, recovery, repetition. Learning works the same way. If you design your learning like training, results compound over time. Without a system, effort is scattered. With a system, effort multiplies. So the difference between slow and fast learners is not intelligence, it is process optimization. When you build a reliable learning framework, you reduce friction. You reduce confusion, you reduce wasted time, and once the system is in place, learning stops feeling chaotic. It becomes efficient, controlled, and scalable. The power of active learning. Most people believe they are learning when they are just consuming information. Watching videos, reading books, highlighting text, it feels productive. But passive consumption is one of the slowest ways to learn. You may understand something while watching it, but if you cannot recall or apply it later, real learning has not happened. Active learning is different. It forces your brain to participate. Instead of just reading a concept, you try to explain it in your own words. Instead of rewatching a lecture, you test yourself without looking at notes. Instead of highlighting a paragraph, you close the book and summarize what you remember. This struggle is not a sign of weakness. It is the process of strengthening neural connections. When you retrieve information from memory, your brain works harder. That effort strengthens recall pathways. This is called active recall. It may feel uncomfortable at first because you realize how much you do not remember. But that discomfort is exactly what accelerates learning. The brain grows under challenge, not comfort. Fast learners understand this principle. They do not measure learning by how much content they consumed. They measure learning by how much they can reproduce and apply without help. That shift alone can double or triple learning speed. Because once you switch from passive intake to active engagement, every study session becomes more efficient and more powerful. Learning through failure and feedback. One reason many people learn slowly is because they avoid mistakes. They want to understand everything perfectly before trying. But this approach actually delays growth. Fast learners do the opposite. They attempt early, they make mistakes quickly, and they use feedback as fuel for improvement. When you attempt something and fail, your brain receives a powerful signal. It identifies the gap between what you know and what is required. This gap creates focused attention, and focused attention accelerates correction. In simple words, mistakes highlight exactly what needs to be fixed. Without attempting, you never discover your weak points clearly. Feedback is the second half of this equation. Attempting without feedback is incomplete. When you test yourself, ask someone to review your work, or compare your solution to the correct one, you close the gap. The brain adjusts faster when it receives immediate correction. This is why practice tests are more effective than rereading notes. So instead of fearing errors, treat them as data. Every mistake gives you direction. Every correction refines your understanding. Fast learners are not those who avoid failure. They are those who compress the failure cycle. They fail faster, correct faster, and therefore improve faster. Focus beats time. Many people believe that learning faster means studying for longer hours. But time alone does not guarantee progress. You can sit with a book for 5 hours and retain almost nothing if your attention is scattered. On the other hand, 1 hour of deep, focused learning can create stronger understanding than an entire distracted day. Focus works like a multiplier. When your attention is fully directed toward one task, your brain processes information more deeply. You notice patterns. You connect ideas. You detect confusion instantly. But when you multitask, checking your phone, switching tabs, thinking about other things, your brain keeps resetting. Each reset consumes mental energy, and learning slows down. There is a concept called deep work. It means eliminating distractions and concentrating on one cognitively demanding task for a set period. During this time, you are not reacting to notifications. You are not switching between tasks. You are fully immersed. In this state, the brain enters a high-efficiency mode. Understanding becomes clearer and memory becomes stronger. Fast learners respect attention as a limited resource. They design their environment to protect it. They turn off distractions. They set time blocks. They focus intensely for shorter periods instead of studying mindlessly for long hours. When you master focus, you compress learning time dramatically. It is not about working more, it is about working with precision. Building mental models. Information alone is fragile. You can memorize definitions, formulas, or facts, but if they are not connected, they disappear quickly. Fast learners use something more powerful than memorization. They build mental models. A mental model is a simplified framework that explains how something works. It helps you understand the structure behind the information. For example, instead of memorizing separate business terms, you understand the basic model of supply and demand. Instead of memorizing random coding syntax, you understand the logic of how inputs turn into outputs. When you learn the underlying model, new information attaches itself naturally. You are not starting from zero every time, you are expanding an existing structure. Mental models reduce cognitive load. Instead of handling 10 disconnected ideas, your brain handles one structured system. That structure allows you to predict outcomes. It allows you to solve unfamiliar problems because you understand the mechanics behind them. This is why experts in any field seem fast. They are not recalling isolated facts, they are navigating frameworks. To build mental models, ask deeper questions. Why does this work? What causes what? How is this connected to something I already know? The moment you shift from memorizing to modeling, learning becomes smoother and more transferable. You stop chasing information and start mastering systems. And that is when true speed begins to emerge. The compounding effect of learning fast. Learning fast is not just about finishing courses quickly. Its real power lies in compounding. When you learn one skill faster, you gain time. That saved time can be invested in learning another skill. Over months and years, this creates exponential growth. Slow learners grow linearly. Fast learners grow exponentially. Imagine you learn one high-value skill every year. Now imagine someone who can learn 2 or 3 in the same time. After 5 years, the difference becomes massive. Not just in knowledge, but in opportunity. The faster learner can combine skills, for example, technology plus communication, or finance plus data analysis. Skill stacking creates rare value, and rare value creates leverage. Compounding also works at the brain level. The more you learn, the easier learning becomes. Why? Because you start recognizing patterns across domains. Mathematics improves logical thinking. Logic improves programming. Programming improves problem solving. Each skill strengthens the next. Learning becomes smoother because your cognitive toolkit expands. This is why learning fast is the ultimate long-term advantage. It is not about showing off intelligence. It is about accelerating your growth curve. When you consistently reduce the time it takes to understand and apply new concepts, your personal evolution speeds up. Over years, that speed difference becomes life-changing.